Welcome to the podcast, Tellem TAGE, where we talk about ownership, entrepreneurship, balancing fatherhood, or balancing parenting and change and growth. And as you guys know, I always try to put somebody on the show that I know personally that has exceeded my expectations of who they are and what they do. I got a good friend of mine today on the show, Mr. Mikel. He's a cook or a chef.
Yeah.
He's a father. He's a family man. He has a wife. He's a good friend of mine I've known for a long time. I say 15, 20 years, at least 20 years.
Yeah.
He knows my family. I know his family. We go way back to when we were doing childish stuff in the streets, making music, doing illegal activities. And like I said, the show is about change and growth. So I wanted to bring him on here because he's one person that I know. I watched him grow into the man he is today. So welcome to the show, my brother. I'm going to let him give a little bit about himself, and then we'll get into the questions that I got for him for the podcast. So it's all yours, brother.
Bet. My name is Mikel Anthony, like you said. You know, I've been cooking for 11 years now. So I am a cook first, right? Any chef that doesn't claim to be a cook first, I don't know if I could rock with them because that's where it starts, you know?
Right.
But
you got to cook to be a chef.
Exactly. Being a cook is a big part of it. Being a chef, there's a lot more to it. But yeah, like, I've been cooking 11 years. I left the restaurant industry and now I have a studio kitchen. I work for a company called Chef's Roll, and we just pump out amazing content.
So you're not working actually in a restaurant right now?
No.
Okay,
no.
so you do content. You're a content chef.
Yeah, content creator. I like to say I make mini commercials.
Nice.
Right. I make commercials for social media. The word content creator and like Instagram chef and all that gets a little watered down and a little looked down upon. I feel a little more pride in what I do, and especially since from the aspect I'm literally making commercials for companies that have to be approved through like a process, then actually put out, right? So it's not like I can just I do those things as well. I do sometimes make content like, yeah, let me put it out there.
Right.
This is gonna be dope, right? But a lot of what I do has to be approved internally with Chef's Roll,
higher ups,
and then approved from the client that I'm working with, and then it's scheduled and posted, and like every little thing is looked at. So that's where it's kind of a little different from the typical Instagram chef, if you will.
You got to get a lot of stuff approved before it can go out. Yeah.
So they'll give me talking points, and I'll try to work around them and weave them into my voiceovers, and it has to like pertain to the product but not be too commercial. And then did I showcase the product properly in the video without it being inherently a commercial? So that's when it does well on social and you still hit those points without it being too commercially. That's when I feel like I've done my job the best.
Right.
It's come a long way, because at the beginning it was like super like I sound like a robot.
Right.
So I've learned how to weave more of my personality into it.
It's kind of what I'm learning on the podcast space. This is only like my third, fourth episode, so I'm still learning as I go. Yeah. And I cringe every time I see myself on there, but it's getting better and better. Like I said, I've known you forever. I know at one time you were rapping. At one time you were a mechanic, right? So you're just like me. You had to go through a bunch of different things before you found the one thing that you were really good at and that you love, right? You said you've been cooking 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
How did you make a transition from making music to mechanic to cooking? Have you always liked cooking?
Yeah. So back when I was an automotive mechanic, I kind of, I lived on my own. I was working 2 jobs. So I would literally work as a mechanic or technician and then go home, change outfits and deliver pizzas. And I was just constantly by myself. And then because I always had pizza, I was like, man, I don't want to be I was single. I don't want to be a pizza box bachelor. Like, right? So I started watching Food Network, and I was like, dang, Rachel Ray kind of cute. And I was like, Geotics, they're kind of cute. They can teach me to cook. So I'm watching that. I started watching HGTV. I'm painting my apartment, putting up baseboards. I had no business doing that, but in my apartment. So it's because I was like isolated, which was good for me at the time, right? Because
stay out of trouble.
You have to isolate yourself to really know yourself, right? So I was doing that, and I just fell in love with cooking, and then friends were like, why don't you go to culinary school? Why don't you be a chef? So finally, when I left working at Saturn as a technician, automotive mechanic, I was kind of in between jobs, and I was like, man, and then one day I finally went in to AI San Diego and was like, I applied. I got denied. And they were like, yeah, you that's a no-go. And I was like, well, how? Well, you can get a co-signer. I was like, I can't get no co-signer, man. If I don't know nobody with good credit.
Right.
So they said, okay, we have a loophole. If you get someone a co-signer and then you get denied, we'll allow you to pay out of pocket to come. So I was like, oh, okay, bet. Ma, get in the car. So we drove there, and I had her sign paperwork, got denied, and then said you could pay $450 a month to go. So I was like, all right. So I was working and going to culinary school at the same time.
So you had 2 jobs and school?
Yes.
Or did you? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So at that point, when I started culinary school, I was had just an off job, right? A rehab technician at a place in La Jolla, right? Working with elderly who just had surgery and stuff. So that was interim in between. But I landed 2 jobs in cooking in a restaurant in the same week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I opened up the Hilton as a line cook in Carlsbad.
Nice.
And then I landed a prep cook job at the Four Seasons.
And you did both of them?
While going to culinary school. So, I'm 29. I'm at culinary school. The kids next to me like 18, right? So I was like, I gotta go. It's time. Like, I can't be, I'm 29. My hands are already hurting from work, from turning wrenches. Right. So like these things, like carpal tunnel, waking up stiff. So I was like, all right, I gotta go. So I got the 2 jobs. I'm busting prep cook in the morning, go to the Hilton, work. So I'm working from like 6, 7 in the morning to 12 o'clock at night every day. Working hard, which I'm learning the skill. So it made sense at the time.
Right.
So then going to school as well. So I'm getting some knowledge as well, which is helping. And then from there, so I'm working 2 jobs, go to school. So I advanced quickly. So before I even left school, because I had networked as well, I met a lot of chefs, was doing a lot of volunteer. So I'm going to school, working 2 jobs and volunteering and meeting people. And that catapulted me to like sous chef and stuff like that rather fast. Maybe too fast, but it helped. It helped a lot.
Sous chef is what? For those who don't know, because I don't know.
So like a standard brigade would be like executive chef at the top, like chef de cuisine, and then you have executive sous chef. Then you can have like lead line cook, prep cook.
Okay.
dishwasher, but for me it's reverse, because the dishwasher is the top, you know what I mean, because if the dishes ain't getting washed, ain't nothing happening,
Right.
you know. But
Right.
yeah, and if your chef ain't willing to go back there and wash those dishes, ain't no chef.
It's the same with my business. If the barber shop owner won't go in there and cut hair, then it's like, you know, people lose respect for you. So, in similar story, you said you were 29 going to school. I was 33 going to barber school,
Hey.
and there was 18-year-olds in there. So I'm looking like, man, what the hell was I rapping for? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Hey, you know what? The music was in us though, bro.
it was.
And how much has it translated? Like, I see you and I see your branding. And I see how you were able to translate that, right? And I feel that with my voiceovers. And sometimes I do like cool little funny rapping, cooking videos, you know, about cooking, you know, in the restaurant and stuff. But like that experience, we've transferred it over, and where it carries its weight and worth, we've used it in other ways.
That's a good way to look at it, because I'm always saying it was a waste of time, but it does. If I had to go through that to get to where I'm at.
Trust me, I wish I can get so many of those years and hours spent writing whack raps.
Right, yeah.
Trying to perfect that craft.
It's funny because, you know, I'm in the Instagram space, and so a lot of, you know, younger rappers, they be asking me for advice, and I feel bad because I always just tell them, bro, quit. Like, quit, go do something else. Because it's, you know, we're in San Diego. There's not too many, like, big rappers to look up to. You know what I mean? You got J.O. Felony, you got Mitchie Slick, and all of those are gangster rappers. You know what I mean? Everybody's pretty much a gangster rapper. So, and that kind of leads to a bunch of other bullshit. So I always tell the young kid, man, just quit rapping and go do something else. Do something else that's going to make you some money.
Take that creativity and put it into something else.
Something else. And we have to admit, we started rapping because we were followers. You know, you followed somebody. Oh, he's rapping. I could do that. You know,
all the OGs were rapping. You know,
so your older brother was rapping. I had some cousins rapping. Rec was doing the beats. You know what I mean? Shout out DJ Rec.
Yeah, what up, Rec?
And Rec still, he don't rap. He makes beats, so he's making money.
Yeah.
So I always tell him, like, you're on the money side, money making side of music, whereas we were spending money on artwork
and respectfully to like me, like, he's on another genius level of music too.
Right.
You know, I wouldn't sound good if it weren't for him.
Right.
You know, there's maybe one or two songs out of the hundreds I made that were like decent. You know what I'm saying? So like,
hey, I was a fan, brother.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate milk and cookies.
Hey,
see how it transferred milk and cookies to a chef.
Yeah. Hey.
So, one of my questions was gonna be, how did you start rapping? But we just kind of got into that. You do have an older brother, Rock, who I need to get on the podcast too, because it's about growth, and he's another person who was gang banging, rapping, and then woke up one morning and said, you know what, this ain't it. You know what I mean? He took his butt to UEI or whatever. I remember him and John Boy and all them going at the same time. Wasn't he going to school with his daughter?
Yes. Yeah.
See,
With his,
I need to get you on here, Rock.
His oldest daughter.
Man, I need to get you on here, brother.
Yeah.
Cooking school. You said, how long did you take culinary school?
I went. It took me about 3 years.
3 years.
I fell into a weird situation where because I was working in the field, I was doing like 450 covers. That's like people a night and stuff like that. And they had this class where you show up to class and you have to cook for like, you know, it's like 10 people. They run it like a restaurant, and I couldn't schedule it because I was actually working in the field, and the school closed. So yeah. And even now, like, I wouldn't suggest someone go to culinary school necessarily, even though that's the path I took and I had success in it. Not that you can't, it's just there's kind of a much, I learned more in the restaurant.
In the restaurant, yeah.
You know, doing research, finding the right chef to work for, you know, getting in the right places, learning the right habits, working hard, listening and willing to put in the extra work. You know, like I had a prep table in my living room and I'd go home and break down chickens and cut carrots, you know, so I put the extra work in after. It's more or less being self-sufficient, learning. I mean, and culinary school is like, you know, $50K, $100K.
And at the end, they give you a certificate?
Yeah, you get a diploma.
Diploma, yeah.
But if you can't cook yet, if you're not in a restaurant, that diploma don't mean nothing. You're still starting as a prep cook. Now, granted, can you move up maybe faster because you are more educated than the people next to you? But all that can be learned, you know. So look, like it can be for you, it can be, but I would suggest, you know, unless there's like this corporate job that you want where they're like, you have to have a diploma, just go get a certificate diploma somewhere where it's like 5-10 grand. Don't let the name fool you of the CIA, Culinary Institute of America or Le Cordon Bleu, you know, like
Cordon Bleu.
Yeah, you know, that's the more mainstream one.
The school you went to is shut down completely?
Yeah. The Art Institute of San Diego, California. There's a whole big issue with a lot of culinary schools. Is also why I say that. It's like for what they were charging and what you were getting, and like this whole sell you the dream, you know, of being a chef. And it's not like that.
Right.
1 out of 10 people stay in the culinary career as in cooking as a chef. 1 in 10. And like, yo, the statistics is nuts. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, what? And I remember a chef telling me that, and I was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, go get a job. I was like, all right. He's like, if you want to do this, go work.
Learn in the field. Same thing with barbering. You can go to barber school and they don't teach you how to fade. They don't teach you all the stuff. They teach you how to pass state board. And that's all they teach you. Then now you got to go out to the barber school. I mean, now you got to go into a barber shop and really learn. You know what I mean? School just taught you how to pass school, and then they take $20,000 from you. That's what I pay, which I'm still paying on 9 years later.
Yep.
So on your page, you tell a story about winning a chef contest.
Yeah, Man versus Master. Yeah,
it was a TV show, right?
Yeah, it was a competition. It was a startup TV show, like, you know, if you will. It's the first season.
Okay, and so tell us a little bit about that. I know on your page you broke down some stuff, which is why I kind of brought you here, because I was like, dang, that's kind of fucked up, the scenario that you went through.
Yeah.
And like you said, you thought it was something, but it wasn't. You know what I mean? So you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah. So I was on a show called Man versus Master. The network behind it was FYI. And so a chef mentor of mine, Chad White, he hit me up. He's like, hey, like, the show's looking for chefs. Do you want to get on it? And I was like, bet. Right? It's like I was in Claremont at the time, kind of a rough situation. Literally just a month or two before, was like on my mom's couch, you know what I mean? Like down and out, you know, this is.
So you thought this was the big
this
break.
Is 33, 34 years old, you know, and I was like, bet. So I drive to LA. I have to do a dish for them right there. I do it. I get on the show. I'm like, bet. Okay.
This is the big break.
Right? Like, I've prepared for this. You know, I've done other like small competitions and failed. I'm ready. I'm tested. Right? So I was like, ain't nothing stopping me. I got Pac in the headphones in the green room, bro. I'm like nothing, just in a zone. And I go out there and I murder everybody. Right, like straight up, like every round.
How many people did you have to face?
I had to go through 2, so it was 3 chefs to start. So the first round, all 3 of us are there. I I did a chicken dish a couple different ways, right? They even threw a curveball at me and told me like I can't use the chicken fat as one of the ways. So I had to come up with something on the fly, right? Killed it. They don't even put all of they edit it, so like there's highlights in there that they took out where like the chef was like who was judging like, oh, this is clearly you can cook, oh my god, you know. And then the second round, so some dude cooks raw chicken, the other chef, she overcooks her chicken, like annihilates it, respectfully, no disrespect. But you know what I mean. So this dude had raw chicken, so I was like, oh, that's a shoe in, right. You know. So yeah, I go to the next round. They let the raw chicken dude move on. I was like confused by that, you know. I was like, okay, hopefully he does it again. Yeah. Right. So I go up against him, and you know, my dish didn't completely make the challenge of what it needed to be done. He did fry more items, but what they don't show is like the chef judge squeezed his taco that the dude made, and like just grease was just like, it was bad. I was like, oh. And like there was this one line running, I was like, hey, you want a Puerto Rican to show you how to make a tortilla? Because this dude was a Mexican chef. Hey, right, so I was talking trash. They didn't put none of that. Like I was like, dang. So I make it to the final round. Chef Jonathan Waxman. Not a lot of people know who he is. Chefs do, but he's Bobby Flay's mentor, right? People knew who Bobby Flay is, right? So Bobby Flay came from his camp. Like Bobby Flay isn't Bobby Flay without Chef Waxman. Okay. So I'm like, bet, you know, like, okay. So I'm now competing against him, and they switch it up on me again. You're supposed to be a charcuterie dish, right? Charcuterie is like, no, and they say cheese board to me. So I'm thinking like cheese, okay, stuff like that. But then they threw in like, oh no, you have to use the bread, you have to use the pickles or whatever. You know, I was like, oh, well, my dish is that's not what I planned on. So I had to come up with something on the fly. But either way, I beat this dude. So he made some like potato gratin type thing, like super basic. I was like, was he trying to lose? I was like, what you making, bro? You know what I mean? I was like, I took pork, I stuffed it, wrapped it with prosciutto. I took the pickles, made a relish. I took the bread and some other stuff and made a sauce, a romesco sauce. And it all was composed, you know. And I think she thought that was his and mine was the potatoes or something, you know. But I beat this dude, and he's like talking me up. He's gassing me up. He's like, oh, I'm so proud of Mikel. He's, you know, even in this round, it shows like how much he's grown, and he's got talent and all this. And I can't wait to, you know, to teach him more. So as we're leaving, that's the end of the night. I don't see him after the camera's off. Okay. They open a back door and like push me out, practically like, okay, bye. So I walk into the parking lot. I'm like, this isn't even where I came in at. It was scary. I was like, what? It's over? Just like that? That's how it happened? Nothing. I didn't hear nothing for months on months about the show. Finally, they set me up with the mentorship that I won. Right. They fly me out to New York. I'm like, bet. It's about to happen. Life's about to change, right? Fly me out there, and this dude is in the same room as me, won't even look me in the eye, and goes to someone else and says, oh yeah, it's just some dude who won this show. And then he's like, yeah, I got to go to Food and Wine Festival. I fly out tonight, and left. And then say a word to me.
And he was talking about you. Yeah. The one who beat him.
I beat you, like, chef, you know? And so in the video that you saw, to reference, this whole time I've always told people like, oh, it was an amazing experience, life-changing, it was great. Because I didn't want to look bitter. I didn't want to, you know, throw him under the bus. Like, why am I saving this dude's name, right? You know, why am I saving face for this dude? So like, but ultimately, like, he didn't fulfill his agreement, his side of it. He was supposed to mentor me, and this dude just set it up to where I stage. Like, stage is where you go work for free in the kitchen and you try to get the job. Like, I could do that anywhere. I've done that. You know what I mean? Like, I've been to Portland and I've been to Seattle on my own and went and staged to learn. Like, I didn't fly to New York to pick herbs in a kitchen basement, bro.
Right.
I'm here for you to teach me to be a chef. What would have been dope if you would have brought me to Food and Wine Festival with you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
That's
right,
what the OG thing was. But he was just salty I beat him, or he didn't believe in me. You know what I mean? Like, this little tattoo kid, you know, I didn't want to go there. Right. You know, but ultimately it was a terrible experience. A week in New York. The only highlight I would say is my father's in New York, Bayshore, and my sister in Brooklyn. So I was out there. I was like, all right. I hit him up, and I got to see my family. That was like, that made it worth obviously going.
So
but this dude,
you had to go for a week, right?
Yeah,
he was gone the whole week.
The whole week, bro.
Oh wow!
A Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, wow. Friday, Saturday, gone.
Wow!
I was like, bro, what?
Have you ever spoke to him since then?
I've texted him, but he just like, you know, and I'm like, I haven't. It's been years. You know, I don't be like, hey, how you doing?
Right.
You know, at first, I kind of was like, I was like, this is a dude could change my life, and he is supposed to. You know what I mean? Obviously not like, you know, lift me up to the point where like I don't do nothing, but like, you know, he was supposed to mentor me. I thought that's what I was sold. Mm-hmm. That's what I was sold. And the receipt it didn't say that. The receipt said.
Sad.
Yeah, it was shady, man. It was shady. It just goes to show you that when the lights are on and the camera's rolling, people are different, you know. And I learned a valuable lesson then. And you know what? If that hadn't happened to me, maybe I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. I told myself, I'm gonna film myself. I'm gonna put myself on camera.
So it was a blessing in disguise. I seen DJ Rick. He left a comment on that post where you say, I lied to you. Mm-hmm. And it said something about the 48 laws of power. The first law is never beat the master, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what you did. You beat the master. So maybe he felt a little embarrassed or, you know, that, dang, this little Puerto Rican tattooed kid, little gang member from California beat me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now I got to teach him, and I don't want to teach him, which is probably why he made that comment. Just some kid, you know what I mean?
Yeah, don't meet your heroes. Yeah.
Again, similar situation. The guy who put me into barbering and told me I should go to barber school and all that, which is my blood relative, my actual cousin, doesn't talk to me no more. You know what I mean? And I believe it's the same type situation where it's like, you were a barber for 20 years. You told me about barbering, and then I get in it and I surpass you, and now it's a problem. You know what I mean? You can't ever do better than the person who kind of teaches you or tells you about it. How much have you invested into your cooking career, you'd say, your chef career?
Many hours. You know, an investment can look like many different things. So as from the work ethic part, man, so many hours. Like I said, the 2 jobs, culinary school at the same time, to the volunteering for free, to going places and staging for free, like learning from other chefs, to having, I literally had a prep table in my living room, which is my main prep table in my studio kitchen now. Still, I've had it for, 10 years. Just constant work. And now I'm still working because I'm still learning how new techniques and stuff. And the nature of my job is I'm constantly having to create new things. So I have to learn how to do new things. Financially, culinary school, a lot of my equipment was out of pocket. I had a business partner that I bought out. So I had to put, thousands down on that to do that, which is a lot of my equipment I have now. Even though I work for another company, a lot of the equipment I use is my own. They bought me new cameras, which is awesome. Nice. But yeah, I still have my cameras and they still work, but there's a lot of work goes into it. A lot of sleepless nights. Instead of writing rhymes, I'm coming up with different recipes, or maybe I should have did this angle. And then now I had to learn a whole new craft with the film and the edit part, which is a whole nother beast. So all my videos were trash at the beginning,
Now
so
you're killing it. I'll be watching.
Thanks, man. Yeah,
I'll be watching. You have your garage is no longer a garage.
No, it's never been a garage. Before I moved my stuff over, I was already painting the garage and getting it ready so I can work.
You have children?
Yes. Yeah. I married into two.
Two stepchildren?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't call them stepchildren, actually. One of the things is, which is, everyone's their own, right? But I growing up in foster homes and stuff like that, which is a whole nother beast, right? But I just learned that I needed to approach it from the straight up. Like, if I'm going to parent these children, I'm their parent, So when you put that word step, there's like, you have to take a step to it. And I don't like that. If we're going to be a family, a unit, there can't be a step between us.
Right.
So I approached it from the beginning, like, look, that's your dad too, right? But this is my home, and in here I'm dad. And if you want to call me Mikel over there, that's fine. Over here I'm dad, and over here he's parent. I'm gonna put his name over as his name. So like, respectfully though, not from a he's not your dad, I'm not your dad thing. Is more or less like, we're both your dad, because I'm like fully parenting them, and and even more now, like I'm dad. So like I'm the one doing everything, appointments, this and that, taking to the AAU games, all that stuff. Like, that's me, right. So I have a 21-year-old son, Josh. I have a 13-year-old daughter, Camilla, and a 4-year-old that my wife and I had together, Myomi.
Biological. The father of the other two is still in their lives, or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. I'll leave it at
that. Yep. We don't need to go no further.
No, different podcast.
What else? Your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Second, the
middle child.
Elaborate. She's a hooper, right?
Middleman. No.
She's a hooper.
Yes, man.
And she's really good.
Yes.
I watch your page a lot.
Yeah.
And you're really into her hooping, right?
Yeah, basketball is my favorite sport, and it's her second sport trying, and she took more of a liking to it because I was able to teach her little handles.
Right.
I didn't get to do all that stuff.
Right.
So a little bit, I'm living through her, but she learned so much about life through basketball. So the work ethic, it's there, man. She puts in the work, never forced, she trains 2-3 days a week, and then has practices. So she's putting in the work like 4 to 6 days a week.
Nice.
And even on the other days off, like, I'm sending her stuff, her mom's sending her stuff to view, or she'll put some, do some like some lifting, stretches and push-ups and, kind of like agility things on the off days. So she's like, when she plays AAU, she's not, and she knows this, she's not like superstar in the AAU.
Right.
She's good. And when she's confident, she gets you buckets, right? And when she plays middle school for her school,
she's Jordan.
It's Jordan, like, Steph Curry, like, it's evident that, like, wow, this girl's put the work in.
Right.
And like, they're bouncing off her, like, she's driving, they're foul, they have to like hack her, and she
see your last post.
She dropped 22 points and got fouled like 22 times, and the ref wasn't calling. I was so hot, but that's where I had to learn that like, one, I'm at her school, I don't want to embarrass her in front of her friends, they're cheering for her.
Right.
And then two, like, if I start this bad habit now of being that dad, when she's in high school, the recruits are gonna be like, she's good, but her parent, that's
You'll be LeVar Ball.
Yeah.
Do not bring the dad.
Yeah, no, they actually, that's the thing, you know. And I'm not LeVar Ball because I don't get that money, so
Right, yeah.
or that platform. So they'll look and be like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
So I do her a disservice by making it bigger than it needed to be. So
That's really good that you said it's something you couldn't do, so you make sure you're there for her.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I am with my child. Like, I wanted braces when I was younger. Mom was on drugs. Dad nowhere to be found. I can't get braces. So when as soon as my daughter's teeth came in and we see that she needed braces, I pay for the braces right out of my own pocket because you're trying to. You're supposed to have your children be better than you. You know what I mean? So I salute you on that.
appreciate
for sure.
that, yeah, man.
For sure.
Yeah, I wanted to play. You know, 6th grade, I played a little rec ball, and it kind of just got glazed over by my parents, my mom, you know what I mean, and my grandfather. And then I hooped every day, and then there was no like, hey, you want to go train or you want to find a team, and none of that. There's no support in it, and it was like maybe because I was short, I don't know what they were thinking. They don't.
Right.
They're busy with their own lives. I don't know, but
They didn't see the vision.
There was none of that. So, I'm pouring out as much as I can support for her, as long as them grades is hitting, and she gets whatever she wants from us. Like, you want sushi today? You just dropped 22 and let's go get sushi, you know what I mean? Because you want it. You know what I mean? Like, even if she didn't, you just took an L, let's go get sushi. You want sushi? Let's go get it. You know what I mean? Like, every little thing we do to support her, I can't afford the GGs though. She want the Mambasitas, them shoes, or the Grinches. I'm like,
It was like $300 or something.
800.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, they go. I was like, let's put our money other places.
Right.
Like, I know you see the girls on there wearing them too, but we put that money into training.
That's how my daughter is. She wants all Jordan 1s and this and that. And I'm trying to teach her, like, don't be so trendy. But at the same time, I know when I was younger, I wanted all the Polo, all the Nautica, all the Tommy Hilfiger.
Yup.
So, but now I'm a little bit older and a little bit wiser. I'm like, we're not going to do that. Do you cook at home?
Yes.
I mean, I know you cook at home because but are you the main cook, like when it's time to eat?
Yes.
Does wifey cook?
Occasionally.
Occasionally, but you cook.
I mean, maybe that's why she chose me. You know what I'm saying? But and she knows that if I was in a restaurant, it wouldn't be the case, right? If I was in a restaurant, it wouldn't that she would be cooking.
You wouldn't want to come home and after cooking.
Nah, I mean, I'd be coming home probably. Typically, with my set of skills and the route I've took in the culinary career, I'd be working dinner anyways. So I wouldn't be working those breakfast shifts to even be home for that, unless I had already reached a point of like corporate executive sous chef, which a lot of chefs frown on because they want to go Michelin star and stuff, which is like a high accolade. But really, if you want a family and some type of balance, you're going to go corporate. But yes, I cook at home because everything I do for my job comes to me at my home. So I get to cook it there. And if either we eat that or I repurpose it. So like, I don't blessed in the respect that I don't have to spend too much on groceries because I just repurpose that food, man. Like, and I be giving it away too. Like, yeah, here, you want a couple pounds of some raw meat because it's just too much.
Right.
Like, I did 7 videos for Tyson and they're sending like, a couple 100 pounds of meat. And I'm like, please take this.
Shoot, call me when you need when you need to get some meat away. I'm trying to put some meat on my body.
Bet.
Do you cook simple stuff at home? I always wondered, like, because I watch your page and you're always cooking like something with drizzle on it and this and that. Do you ever go home and just make hamburger helper?
Yeah, man. You know, fried rice 1,000 different ways. We eat top ramen still.
Okay.
I might doctor it a little bit, but you know, man, yeah, absolutely. There's, you know, who wants to eat like that every day? Like, I want home cooking. I want to feel comfort, you know. So, you know, and like beans with some, like, my favorite is like a stewed meat with like some type of greens, whether it's collard or mustard or some type of greens stewed in there with it, with some type of bean that's been cooked like with it as well, and have like that's my favorite, man. Like,
can people hire you? Can like private chef? I guess that's what it's called.
Yes and no, but mainly no.
Would you elaborate?
Well, it's because, I mean, what I do is it's not that. So I do have things that I have gone out and done a private dinner, but I'm more equipped for what I do now on a daily. So it just takes so much more effort and time to prep and prepare for private events and private dinners versus like what I'm doing. So my time is spent better doing what I'm doing, and I'm on a salary for my company, so I have to focus on that anyways.
Nice.
Right? So I can, in my free time, it's just more or less, is it worth missing a game of my daughter? Is it worth not taking her to practice? Is it worth not sitting with my 4-year-old for the time I have with her when she doesn't want mommy?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So, and to make it worth that to them and to us, I'd have to charge more than I would. So it looks like I'm think too highly of myself, but you know, I'm gonna overcharge.
It has to be worth it. Like,
yeah, I'm gonna overcharge, you know, and that's just like, and if that's what I did full time, that'd be different. It would totally be different.
So like DJ Khaled on his page, he has a black lady who's a chef, and she's always cooking for him. Would you ever be open to, like, if a celebrity hit you up? If like the money's right.
A one-off, yes. The money would have to be extremely right for me to do it full time.
Yeah.
Because then again, like, I'd have to remove myself completely from my family, and that's kind of one of the reasons I've gravitated and gave up. Because I still, you know, part of me wants to be a chef in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. You know, there's that desire to cook for people, to showcase my food as well, the ego part. That's still there, you know, to have that storefront with my name or my branding on it of my thoughts as far as like a restaurant. So that's still in me, but I kind of let that kind of just live in me and not put it out there, because what I'm doing is working. So why should I pivot from that? Right. Like, I'd be a fool to change. This works for me. Why pivot from that? Now, if an investor came and was like, I got a couple mil, because that's what it takes. People think, oh, you can start up a restaurant. No, man. If you really want to do it the way, and it's on the scale that I want to do it, we need millions.
Right.
Like couple mil. Just to even get started, started. So like, because I worked for Richard Blais, right, who's on TV with Gordon Ramsay right now, right, and I seen him. I opened up Juniper and Ivy with him, and I seen him open up other restaurants. That takes millions to do, and people think it's like, oh yeah, I got 50K. So, no, that ain't enough.
Right.
That ain't enough.
Not to do it the right way.
That won't even put the equipment in the restaurant that's needed, you know. And then you talk about you got to hire people and pay their salaries while you're still getting your name out there in the business and stuff like that. It's a long process. So
that leads me into my last, or not last, but was my next question was what's the end goal for you? Like, do you plan on opening your own restaurant one day, or do you just want to do the test kitchen Chef's Roll Test Kitchen only, or like what's the end goal? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That is, we need another 45 minutes for that question. No, ultimately, I think in 5 years, any investors who want to open a restaurant and you got the mills, holler at me. Cause what I can do forever. Right. That's the beauty of it. Cause you could be a chef in a restaurant. Your hands are going to go, your eyesight's going to go, stuff like that. What I'm doing, I can space it out even more. So my body's going to last. My mental health is going to last. And unfortunately, in the restaurant industry, that's a big issue with chefs and stuff like that. Is mental health and your overall health, right? So like for the next 5 years, man, I want to grow my skill, learn how to film more outside and create content that way. I think it would be cool to have my own full-on studio kitchen. One of my dreams would be have a restaurant that has cameras in it, so it's kind of its own ongoing show.
Oh, nice.
And how cool would it be to go eat at a place that you've watched online on YouTube? You know, these dudes is crazy, not too crazy, all right, professional to a level, but you know, it's funny. You get to see the funny moments, you get to see the behind the scenes, you get to see that the prep's being done well and stuff like that. Like I worked in the kitchen with Chad White, and his prep area was glass. And I mean the storage for the food, the walk-in, the cold storage was glass. So you could see that all of the product was properly, it was clean, it was done. Imagine that on a full-on restaurant scale. So I have this restaurant that has full-time running cameras when we're in business, and then it can double up as a studio kitchen after hours, and you can rent it out and stuff like that. So I think that would be really cool to do, is have a restaurant and studio kitchen.
Does anybody have that now, or that you know of?
Hell's Kitchen. Hell's Kitchen, Gordon Ramsay show. It's essentially that, but an actual restaurant without the drama of the TV. It would be actual. Imagine FX the Bear is a really good. If you want to learn about chef life and like kind of the grind and behind the scenes, FX the Bear is a show that has done a really good job of showing that. I think that's the most accurate representation. So you take that show and you take the idea of Hell's Kitchen from Gordon Ramsay without the drama, and you have it live on TV, and then also double up as a studio kitchen when the restaurant's closed. You can rent it out, because you can make a lot of money renting out a studio kitchen.
Interesting.
It is probably on paper would make more sense to write it out, but yeah, that is kind of like a combination of what I do now and still having a restaurant. Nice.
You want to give them your Instagram, how people can find you?
Mikel Anthony, that's MIKEL _Anthony. It's the same on YouTube as well. I have a TikTok. The algorithm is not nice to me on TikTok. Even I do have 200,000 followers, but it's not nice. So, but it's MAIN me, like the letter N, me. So it's my youngest daughter and me. But yeah, Mikel at chefsroll.com if you need to email me for anything.
And Chef Roll is a what?
Chef's Roll is it started off like a LinkedIn for chefs, morphed into like a marketing agency, and we create content for brands essentially, and has a huge platform. Chefsroll.com, Chef's Roll on Instagram, CHEFSROLL. Almost 1 million followers on Instagram, and a couple mil, like over 1 mil overall platforms, almost 2 mil, I think.
Man, that's That's good. I can't cook hot dogs, brother, so
Hey.
I rarely watch chefs or anything like that. My daughter gets on me all the time about cooking. Her mom can't really cook neither, so we're the eat out kings.
Hey, if you know how to eat out well, that is good on its own, man. But yeah, you can just chop it up in the kitchen a little bit.
Anything else you want to go over before we get up out of here?
Now, I appreciate you, man. Like, I love what you're doing, bro, and I think that where we came from, to see where you're at now. I've always through the years looked at you and was like, bro, yes,
I'm trying, brother. I'm trying.
Yeah.
Nipsey was a big influence with what I'm doing. I think he was good at like being transparent and showing people like, hey, this is what you do and this is what you do. And then once he passed, it was like, man, I want to be the Nipsey of my city or my section, without the gang influence.
We keep that over there.
Just the, trying to inspire younger kids. Cause I always say like, no disrespect to the older barbers from Oceanside, but if they were a little bit more transparent with how much money they could make and how fun the job was, then I probably wouldn't have like 3-4 of the cases that I got.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they didn't show me that, hey, you can do this instead of this, I chose to do that and went to jail 3, 4, 5 times, you know what I mean? And that was enough for me to get right, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, I've been there too, man.
like I said, that's why I got you on the show.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people from Oceanside that were fucking up before and still fucking up. You know what I mean? So it's not too many people that woke up and said, hey, I need to change. And like I said, I watched you rap to be a mechanic. Didn't you and Rec have
Killer Dogs?
Yeah. I was
Killer
gonna say, I
Dogs.
didn't even mention that. You guys had a little hot dog stand.
The hot dogs were fire too.
Hot dog stand start up.
Yeah.
And I remember when Rec was telling me, I was thinking to myself, like, a hot dog stand, like, but I didn't really get it. I didn't see the vision, but that's why I got you on the show, bro. Like, I watched you from Mikel the rapper, getting the black tattoo on you. I remember thinking to myself, like, man, the label ain't put out nothing yet.
Yeah,
and
that
they
was
got
wild.
tattoos,
Yeah,
what I mean?
that was a little early. I love my brothers, man, but we was tripping on that one. I love y'all, man,
So-
but we didn't need to do all that. I got to figure out what to do something with that.
So,
It's still fam or nothing, though.
like I said, I appreciate you for coming on the show. I look up to you, brother. You're younger than me,
Likewise.
but I look up to you.
Hey, same, man.
Maybe I can get you in the kitchen one day, teach my daughter how to make make some noodles a little bit better.
Yeah.
And that's it. I don't know. If you want to touch on anything else? If so,
I could go on forever, so,
that's what I said. If there anything,
No. Hey, let's have a part 2 in like 6 months, 2 years, or something. You know what I mean? Like,
and revisit.
yeah.
Have you seen? You haven't tried Rodney's cooking yet, huh?
No, I know I need to get that and dude from Shy. Is it
Hot dog. Ghost.
Ghost? Yeah. Like I
Big
know him
City
from back
Dog.
in the day too.
Big City
And I
Dog.
saw they had Big City Dogs. I was like, bro,
Yeah.
that's dope. Cause I had Killer Dogs. I saw that Ghost was doing his
Big
chef
City
thing
Dog.
too, and then Rodney.
Yeah.
So I was
they all
like,
came
bro,
to the
like,
grand opening.
yeah, man, that's dope. Like,
I think Rodney got some of his idea from Ghost. Watching because Ghost has been doing it for a little bit longer than Rodney.
that's dope, man. Yeah, no, I saw that and it filled my heart like genuinely to see someone else who come from where I came from and they're doing the chef thing too, so I saw Ghost, and I was like, oh, bet that's dope. So it was, I think his little brother was Keith.
One of them,
Yeah.
Keith, and then Pumpkin. Pumpkin. He's
I don't
locked,
think I know
he's
Pumpkin.
locked up.
But back in the day, my rap name was Kinfolk, and you know,
Yeah,
yeah,
they're vice lords.
yeah. So like, but I was tight with Keith because they knew I wasn't. I'm from the West Coast. It was more like my name's Kinfolk for family, you
Right.
know. So like, because I wanted to, you know, like family. So I went to their house and like was hanging with them, but everyone in there was VL. So like, he was like, "Hey, so y'all, this is Kinfolk," and they were like, "Skr," you know, like stop the record, like, "Skr." He's like, "Nah, he's cool. He's cool. It's not like that."
Just the name.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, his family hanging on the left too. You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, yeah. I was like, but nah, that was one of my memories with Keith. But yeah, it was cool to see that he was cooking, man. I like that. I wish nothing but success, you know. And if you have another grand opening, I'll come out.
Marietta.
You know, just just let me know the dates, and I'll move stuff and make sure it's solid,
baby.
and I'll throw a little something together for that too.
Please, brother, please. Last question. Would you say you have 3 children, would you be happy if they took the same path as far as cooking?
Yes, because, you know, but I think that's more or less like my pride and stuff like that. It's just such a beast of like a wear on you and your soul, which sounds terrible, but I'd be happy for them if that's truly what they wanted to do and they dedicated their time to it. You know, I'd push them corporate. I wouldn't want them to chase something. Now the filming and the cooking, yeah, because we could build an empire together as a family, right? Like you teach you how to edit, teach you how to cook and film, and we can build an empire that way. But as far as like being a chef and going out there and working 12, 14-hour days for being underpaid, 6, 7 days a week.
Overworked and underpaid.
Yeah, no, that's what I was getting at earlier. Was like, yeah, I had to work hard to build that skill, but at one point the scales tipped and I was working too hard for underpaid, taking pay cuts to work at the next place who was going to teach me more, you know, or I thought, you know what I mean? So like there's a way to go about it, but it's more or less like, don't overwork yourself. No, your mental health and your physical health is not secondary to your career, no matter what it is. And a lot of chefs, there's this culture that it is like first, kitchen first, you know. So it's like your mental health and your livelihood second, and that's the only reason I'm like, no, because it hasn't changed. It's better, but it hasn't changed.
Gotcha. Well, we're going to wrap it up. Tellem TAGE, where we discuss all of the shits.